All right, so you know that feeling, right? When when the days get shorter
Mm-hmm.
and suddenly you just want to like burrow under a blanket with a
Yeah.
giant bowl of pasta?
Oh, yeah.
You're not alone.
Definitely not.
Turns out there's actually a reason for that,
Right.
beyond just like winter laziness.
Exactly.
So we are diving deep into seasonal affective disorder,
Okay.
SAD, or the winter blues, as some people call it.
Right.
You've given us a really fascinating mix here
Yeah.
of medical articles and research snippets,
Uh-huh.
personal stories about diet,
Interesting.
and even some alternative therapies.
Okay.
So clearly you're looking for like a holistic
Yeah,
understanding of this whole S8 thing.
for sure.
So I am excited to dive in
Me too.
and uncover some fascinating insights about SA
Yeah,
alongside you.
absolutely.
So it's really amazing how many people
It is.
experience these mood shifts as
Yeah.
winter comes,
Mm-hmm.
but they kind of just brush it off
Yeah,
as just part of the season.
exactly. Like it's normal to just feel a bit down in the
Right.
winter.
Exactly.
But SID is a recognized medical condition.
Yeah.
It's a type of depression
Okay.
that's linked to those dwindling daylight hours.
That's what I found so interesting in your notes.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't until the 1980s
Wow.
that a doctor named Norman Rosenthal
Okay.
started connecting the dots.
Yeah.
He was experiencing these winter mood dips himself
Interesting.
and realized there had to be a link
Mm-hmm.
to the lack of sunlight.
Makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
And his research actually led
Oh, wow.
to the development of light therapy,
I see. Yeah.
which is still a major treatment today.
Wow, that's fascinating.
Right.
Yeah.
So Rosenthal's own experience
Mm-hmm.
really highlights how important it is
Yeah.
to pay attention to those subtle shifts
Right.
in our well-being
Yeah.
as the seasons change.
For sure.
It makes you wonder how many other
Right.
seemingly normal
Yeah.
winter experiences
Mm-hmm.
are actually tied to sand.
Exactly.
But before we get ahead of ourselves,
Okay.
let's break down the science
Already.
behind it all.
Yeah.
It seems like our brains
They do.
go through some major changes
For sure.
when the days get shorter.
Yeah.
So think of it this way.
Okay.
Our brains rely on certain chemicals
Uh-huh.
called neurotransmitters
Right.
to send messages and regulate our mood.
Oh.
One of the key players is serotonin,
Okay.
often nicknamed the feel-good chemical.
I've heard of that.
Sunlight plays a crucial role
It
in
does.
serotonin production.
Mm-hmm.
So when those days get shorter and darker,
Yeah.
our serotonin levels can take a dip.
Interesting.
It's like our brains are running low on sunshine fuel.
I like that analogy.
And then there's melatonin,
Right.
the hormone that tells our bodies it's time to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
So with longer nights,
Yeah.
melatonin production ramps up,
Okay.
contributing to that
Yeah.
extra tired,
Mm-hmm.
sluggish feeling. It's like our bodies are prepping for hibernation,
Yeah.
even though most of us can't actually sleep through the winter.
Exactly.
This interplay of serotonin and melatonin
Mm-hmm.
disrupts our circadian rhythm,
Okay.
our internal clock that regulates sleep-wake cycles,
Mm-hmm.
hormone release, and even body temperature.
Right.
But here's where it gets even more interesting.
Okay.
You've flagged vitamin D deficiency.
Mm-hmm.
In several of your sources,
Right.
turns out
Yeah.
there's a strong connection
Interesting.
between vitamin D sunlight and SAD.
Wow.
I was surprised to learn
Yeah.
that our bodies actually produce vitamin D
Huh.
when exposed to sunlight.
Really?
So less sun means less vitamin D.
Yeah.
But how does that tie into SAD specifically?
Well, vitamin D plays a critical role
Okay.
in helping our brains use serotonin effectively.
Uh-huh.
It's like having all the ingredients for a delicious meal,
Okay.
but lacking the oven to cook it
Right.
without sufficient vitamin D. Serotonin can't fully do its job
Yeah.
of regulating mood,
Interesting.
even if we're producing some.
So it really needs that vitamin D
It does.
to work properly.
Yeah.
This is why vitamin D supplementation
Right.
is often recommended for SAD,
Makes sense.
especially during winter.
For sure.
So it's this complex interplay of sunlight,
Mm-hmm.
hormones, and even vitamins
Yeah.
that contributes to SA.
That's fascinating.
It's fascinating, but also makes you realize
Right.
how vulnerable we can be
Yeah,
to those shifts in the environment.
absolutely.
But not everyone experiences
Right.
those winter blues
Yeah,
to the same extent.
right. That's an important point.
Okay.
While anyone can experience SA,
Mm-hmm.
some people are definitely more susceptible
Okay.
than others.
All right.
Studies show that women particularly those between the ages of 18 and 30,
Okay.
are more likely to be diagnosed with SA.
Interesting.
This could be due to hormonal differences.
Right.
Or simply because women are more likely to seek help for mood-related issues.
Right.
And geography seems to play a huge role, too.
Yeah.
I imagine living in Alaska
Right.
with those long, dark winters
Yeah.
is a very different experience than living in sunny Southern California.
For sure.
Absolutely. The farther you live from the equator, the more pronounced those seasonal changes in daylight become.
Right.
Regions like Canada, Alaska, and the Nordic countries,
Yeah.
where winters are long and dark, see a much higher prevalence of satiety.
Wow.
It makes sense when you think about it.
Yeah.
Our bodies evolved to thrive on sunlight. And when that natural rhythm is disrupted, it can throw our whole system out of whack.
So it's not just about feeling a little down in the dumps.
Right.
SAD can manifest in a variety of ways. Right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Persistent low mood is definitely a hallmark of SA,
Uh-huh.
but it often comes with a whole constellation of other symptoms.
Like what?
Think about it. Fatigue, loss of interest in activities you normally enjoy, changes in appetite and sleep patterns, even difficulty concentrating, and social withdrawal.
Really?
Some people even experience an intense craving for carbohydrates.
Oh, interesting.
Leading to weight gain during winter.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
It's like our bodies are trying to self-medicate with comfort food.
Right.
In a way, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Carbohydrates can temporarily boost serotonin levels,
They can.
providing a quick mood lift.
Yeah.
But is that sustainable?
That's the catch.
Okay.
It's a short-term fix that can backfire in the long run.
Right.
Those sugary treats and refined carbs lead to blood sugar spikes and crashes, ultimately exacerbating mood swings and fatigue.
Oh, wow.
It's a vicious cycle.
It can actually make it worse.
It can.
So it's important to be aware of those subtle signs and symptoms,
Absolutely.
both for ourselves and for the people we care about.
For sure.
It's not just about feeling sad.
Right.
This can affect our energy levels, our sleep, our eating habits, even our social lives.
Exactly.
And that's why early recognition and intervention are so crucial.
Absolutely.
The good news is that there's a wide range of treatment options available.
There are.
From conventional medical approaches to natural remedies and lifestyle changes.
Yeah.
It's about finding what works best for each individual.
Yeah.
That's what we're here to explore.
Let's do it.
Let's delve into those treatment options.
Yeah.
And see what strategies might resonate with you.
Sounds good. So when it comes to managing SA, it's important to remember that there's no one-size-fits-all solution. It's about finding the right combination of strategies that work for you.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like creating a personalized toolkit
Exactly.
for battling those winter blues.
Exactly.
And you mentioned a range of options from
It did.
medical treatments to natural remedies. Start with the one that seems to be the gold standard for SAD, light therapy.
Light therapy or phototherapy.
Okay.
It's a fascinating approach. It's essentially a way to mimic the effects of sunlight during those darker months. It involves sitting in front of a special light box that emits bright light, typically for about 30 minutes each morning. This helps to reset your internal clock, regulate serotonin and melatonin levels, and essentially trick your brain into thinking it's getting a dose of sunshine.
It sounds almost too simple.
Right.
But I've heard from so many people that it really does make a difference.
It can be very effective.
So I'm curious, are there different types of light boxes?
That's a great question.
So they all work the same way?
There are actually variations in light intensity, color spectrum, and even usage recommendations.
Interesting.
Some light boxes are designed for specific conditions like SAD, while others are more general purpose. It's always best to consult with a healthcare professional to determine the right type of light therapy and the appropriate dosage for you.
So it's not just a matter of picking any random lamp and hoping for the best.
Exactly.
But what about those who are looking for more natural approaches?
Absolutely.
You mentioned some alternative therapies in your earlier explanation.
I did.
Absolutely.
While light therapy is often the first line of defense, there are other avenues to explore. Acupuncture, for example, is an ancient Chinese practice that involves inserting thin needles into specific points on the body to stimulate energy flow. Some people find it helpful for managing stress, anxiety, and even sleep disturbances.
Yeah.
All of which can be amplified during ascites.
I've heard good things about acupuncture.
Yeah.
But I have to admit, I'm a bit squeamish about needles.
I understand.
What about other options like hypnotherapy?
Hypnotherapy is a fascinating field.
Okay.
It's a state of deep relaxation and focused attention that allows you to access your subconscious mind.
Interesting.
And potentially reprogram negative thought patterns and behaviors.
Okay.
Some individuals find it helpful for managing stress, anxiety, and even overcoming phobias.
Wow.
While research on its effectiveness for SAD specifically is still limited.
Right.
Could be worth exploring for those who are open to alternative approaches.
It sounds like the key is to be open-minded.
It is.
And explore different options to find what resonates with you.
Exactly.
But it's also important to approach these therapies with a healthy dose of skepticism.
Absolutely.
And consult with healthcare professionals.
Absolutely. It's crucial to have those conversations with your doctor or a qualified therapist to rule out any underlying medical conditions and ensure that any alternative therapies are used safely and appropriately.
Now, speaking of alternative approaches, I have to bring up something that seems to be a major focus for you.
Right.
Based on the sources you've provided.
Okay.
The power of food.
Yes.
You've included a lot of information about specific foods and their potential impact on
OSA is so important.
Let's dig into that a bit.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Okay.
What we eat has a profound impact on our physical and mental well-being, especially during those winter months.
Right.
When we're already more susceptible to mood swings and energy dips.
Okay, so let's get practical.
Okay.
What are some of those power foods we should be loading up on to combat the winter blues?
One of the most important things is to focus on complex carbohydrates.
Okay.
Unlike those refined sugars.
Yeah.
And processed foods that lead to energy crashes.
Right.
Complex carbs provide a slow and steady release of energy, keeping you feeling fuller and more energized for longer.
So it's sustained energy.
It is.
Think about whole grains like oats, quinoa brown rice, and sweet potatoes.
Good choices.
These are your brain's best friends during winter.
Absolutely.
I'm definitely a fan of sweet potatoes.
Me too.
They're so versatile and delicious.
But
what about protein?
Okay.
What role does it play in managing SAD?
Protein is crucial for building and repairing tissues.
Right.
But it's also essential for neurotransmitter production, including those mood-regulating superstars, serotonin and dopamine.
So we need that protein. Make sure you're getting enough lean protein throughout the day.
Yes.
From sources like chicken, fish, beans, lentils, and tofu.
Those are all great sources.
It's like giving your brain the building blocks.
It is.
It needs to stay balanced and positive.
Exactly.
It's fascinating how interconnected all these systems are.
It really is.
Our diet affects our hormones, our energy levels, even our emotions.
Absolutely. And speaking of interconnected systems, let's not forget about iron. Iron deficiency is surprisingly common.
It is.
Especially among women. And it can contribute to fatigue, brain fog, and worsen SAD symptoms. Make sure you're including plenty of iron-rich foods in your diet. Like leafy greens, lentils, red meat, and fortified cereals.
So we've got our complex carbs, our lean proteins, and our iron-rich superstars.
Right.
What else should we be adding to our winter grocery list?
Don't underestimate the power of healthy fats.
Okay.
They're crucial for brain function and can actually improve mood and energy levels.
Interesting.
Think about avocados, nuts, seeds, and oily fish like salmon, which are packed with those mood-boosting omega-3 fatty acids.
I'm a huge avocado fan.
They're delicious.
This is great news.
But what about those omega-3s?
Yeah.
I know they're good for heart health, but I'm curious to learn more about their connection to mood. The omega-3 fatty acids are essential for brain health. They help to reduce inflammation, improve communication between brain cells. And have been linked to improved mood and reduced symptoms of depression.
Interesting.
Including SAD.
So loading up on salmon, walnuts, flax seeds, those are all good ways to boost those omega-3 levels.
They are. And let's not forget about our old friend vitamin D.
Right.
We talked earlier about how sunlight is the best way to get vitamin D, but during winter, it's important to supplement through our diet as well.
Fatty fish?
Yes.
Fortified milk alternative? And even some mushrooms can help boost those levels, right?
You got it. And don't underestimate the power of B vitamins.
Okay.
Particularly B6 and B12.
Right.
They play a crucial role in energy production and mood regulation.
Where can we find those?
You can find them in leafy greens.
Okay.
Fortified nutritional yeast and legumes.
Wow. It's like a rainbow of foods.
It is.
For a happy brain.
It is.
This is making me want to completely revamp.
I know, right?
My winter meal plan.
And don't forget about those vibrant colors. Brightly colored fruits and vegetables are packed with antioxidants that help protect your brain cells from damage and support overall well-being.
So we're talking...
Think about berries, citrus fruits, leafy greens, and those beautiful orange and yellow veggies.
Right.
Like carrots and bell peppers.
Okay, so we've got our complex carbs.
Yes.
Lean proteins, healthy fats, iron.
Yes.
Omega-3s, vitamin D vitamins.
Right.
And a whole spectrum of colorful fruits and veggies.
Exactly.
It's a lot to remember.
It might seem overwhelming.
Yeah.
But the good news is that eating for SA doesn't have to be complicated.
Okay.
Focus on whole, unprocessed foods. Get plenty of variety.
Yeah.
And listen to your body's cues.
Okay.
If you're craving something sweet.
Reach for a piece of fruit instead of a candy bar.
Right.
If you're feeling sluggish, opt for a protein-rich snack instead of a bag of chips.
That makes sense.
It's about making mindful choices that nourish your body and support your mood.
So it's not about deprivation.
It's not.
It's about making conscious choices that fuel your well-being.
Exactly.
But there's one thing in your notes that I found particularly intriguing.
Right.
You mentioned something about eating tryptophan-rich foods, like eggs, later in the day to avoid morning drowsiness.
Right.
Can you explain that a bit further?
Absolutely. Tryptophan is an amino acid that our bodies use to produce both serotonin and melatonin. Now, if you eat tryptophan-rich foods early in the day, it can sometimes lead to that sleepy feeling because it's readily converted to serotonin, which can then be converted to melatonin, the sleep hormone.
I see.
So by shifting those tryptophan-rich foods to later in the day, you're essentially timing the production of serotonin and melatonin to better align with your sleep-wake cycle.
So you're not getting sleepy at the wrong time of day.
Right.
You can still enjoy those eggs.
Yes.
But maybe have them for dinner instead of breakfast.
Exactly.
This is fascinating stuff.
It is.
It's amazing how much control we have.
It's empowering.
Over our mood and energy.
Yes.
Just by making mindful choices about what we eat.
Right.
But I imagine it's not just about adding certain foods.
No, it's not.
It's also about being mindful of what we might want to limit or avoid.
You're absolutely right.
Okay.
Just like there are foods that can lift our spirits, there are also those that can drag us down.
Yeah.
Especially when we're already vulnerable to SID.
So what are we talking about?
Processed foods, sugary drinks, and excessive caffeine can wreak havoc on our energy levels.
Yeah.
Blood sugar and mood. So it's about finding that balance.
It is.
Nourishing our bodies with whole nutrient-rich foods while minimizing the things that deplete our energy.
Yes.
And contribute to those winter blues.
Precisely.
So we've covered a lot of ground when it comes to diet and SAD.
We have.
But what about other lifestyle changes?
Okay.
That can help us combat those winter blues?
Sure.
I'm thinking about things like exercise, sleep, stress management.
Right.
Those pillars of overall well-being.
Those are all incredibly important.
Okay.
Exercise is a natural mood booster.
It is.
It releases endorphins, those feel-good chemicals in the brain, and helps to regulate sleep patterns, which are often disrupted during SETD.
Right.
Even a brisk walk in the fresh air can do wonders for your mood and energy levels.
I know. I always feel so much better. After a good workout, even if it's just a quick yoga session at home.
For sure.
It's like hitting the reset button on my mind and body.
And speaking of reset buttons, let's talk about sleep.
Okay.
Maintaining a consistent sleep-wake cycle is crucial for regulating your circadian rhythm and ensuring that your body is getting the rest it needs.
It can be hard in the winter, though.
This can be especially challenging during winter, when those days are shorter. And we're naturally inclined to want more sleep.
It's so tempting to just hibernate under the covers.
I know.
But I know from experience that sticking to a regular sleep schedule
it really helps.
Makes a world of difference in how I feel.
It does.
Both physically and mentally.
And don't underestimate the power of social connection.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
SAD often leads to social withdrawal and feelings of isolation.
Right.
Which can worsen symptoms.
Yeah.
Make an effort to connect with loved ones.
Okay.
Even if it's just a phone call or a virtual coffee date.
Sometimes just hearing a friendly voice can make all the difference.
And of course, managing stress is key. Whether it's through meditation, deep breathing exercises, spending time in nature, or listening to calming music.
Okay.
Finding healthy ways to cope with stress can help prevent it from spiraling out of control.
Right.
And exacerbating SAD symptoms.
So you got to manage that stress.
You do.
You've hit the nail on the head.
It's about building a holistic approach to well-being.
Okay.
Incorporating all these elements, diet, exercise, sleep, social connection, stress management, to create a foundation of resilience.
So it's like a support system.
It is.
Especially during those challenging winter months.
Exactly.
It's like weaving a tapestry of well-being.
I love that.
With each thread playing a vital role in the overall picture.
I like that analogy.
But there's one question that's been lingering in my mind.
Okay.
And I'm sure it's on the minds of our listeners as well.
Yeah.
Is SD something we're stuck with forever?
That's a great question.
Is it a lifelong condition?
The answer is a bit nuanced.
Okay.
While SAD symptoms typically subside in spring and summer as the days get longer and sunnier.
Right.
For many people, it's a recurring condition that returns each year as winter approaches.
So it's like a seasonal visitor.
That's a great analogy.
But not necessarily a permanent resident.
Exactly.
But here's the good news.
What?
With consistent management strategies and early intervention, many individuals find that their symptoms become less severe and frequent over time.
That's great.
Some even experience a reduction in symptoms as they age.
Right.
Or even stop having episodes altogether.
That's fantastic.
So there's hope.
There is.
It's not a life sentence.
It's not.
But rather a condition that can be managed and even outgrown in some cases.
Yes.
That's incredibly reassuring.
Absolutely. It's all about being proactive, understanding your triggers, and having those tools and strategies in place to navigate the changing seasons with grace and resilience.
Now, before we wrap up this part of our deep dive,
I
want to circle back to something you mentioned earlier.
Right.
Alternative therapies. Our listener specifically included some information about mindfulness and meditation as potential tools for managing SAD.
Yeah.
I have to admit, this is an area I'm personally curious about as well.
That's a fantastic topic.
Okay.
And one that deserves its own dedicated exploration.
Right.
Let's delve into the intriguing connections between mindfulness, meditation, and SAD.
Okay.
In part 3 of our deep dive.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground in our deep dive into seasonal affective disorder.
We have.
We've explored the science behind it, those sneaky symptoms that go beyond just feeling sad.
Right.
And a whole range of treatment options, from light therapy to dietary changes and even those alternative therapies we talked about. But you specifically included some interesting material.
I did.
On mindfulness and meditation.
Right.
So let's unpack that.
I'm happy to.
It's fascinating how these ancient practices are now gaining traction in modern medicine.
It is.
Mindfulness and meditation aren't just trendy buzzwords.
No, they're not.
They offer practical tools for navigating the emotional and mental challenges of SA.
Exactly.
I've tried meditation apps before.
Okay.
But I admit I'm not sure how they connect to something like SA.
Yeah.
What's the link there?
Mindfulness at its core is about cultivating a state of non-judgmental awareness of the present moment. It's about tuning into your thoughts, feelings, and bodily sensations without getting swept away by them.
I see.
Meditation helps you train this awareness, like strengthening a muscle.
So instead of getting trapped in that spiral of negative thoughts and worries that can come with SA, mindfulness and meditation help you step back and observe them without judgment.
Right.
Almost like watching leaves float down a stream.
Exactly. You create space between you and your thoughts.
Okay.
So you're not so identified with them.
I see.
This is incredibly helpful for managing the emotional roller coaster of SAD.
Right.
Those feelings of hopelessness, anxiety, and fatigue, that can feel so overwhelming.
That makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
But what about the physical symptoms of SAD?
Okay.
Can mindfulness and meditation really help with things like low energy, sleep problems, or even those cravings for comfort food?
There's growing evidence suggesting they can.
Interesting.
Mindfulness can help regulate your body's stress response,
okay.
reducing the production of cortisol, the stress hormone that contributes to fatigue and sleep disturbances.
I know. When I'm stressed, I sleep terribly.
Exactly.
And crave all the sugary snacks.
And by bringing awareness to those cravings, mindfulness can help you make more conscious food choices.
Right.
It's not about denying yourself pleasure,
okay.
but noticing those urges and responding in a more balanced way.
So instead of automatically reaching for that bag of chips when you're feeling down, mindfulness helps you pause.
Yeah, exactly.
Acknowledge the craving and maybe choose a piece of fruit or some nuts instead.
Precisely. It's about cultivating self-compassion and making choices that align with your overall well-being.
This is all starting to click for me now. Good. It's not just about sitting on a cushion chanting.
It's not just that.
It's about developing a deeper understanding of your own emotions and even those physical cues from your body.
You got it. Mindfulness and meditation aren't quick fixes, but ongoing practices that cultivate resilience, self-awareness, and a kinder relationship with yourself.
Okay.
These qualities are incredibly valuable for navigating the ups and downs of SI.
This has been such an insightful deep dive.
That has been fun.
We've gone from the science of SAD to the power of food, and now this fascinating exploration of mindfulness and meditation.
Right.
It seems like there are so many tools available.
There are.
To help us manage SAD.
Right.
And even thrive during the winter months.
Absolutely. If we connect this to the bigger picture, it's about recognizing that SAD is a real and manageable condition.
Yeah.
There are effective treatments, both conventional and natural.
Right.
And finding what works best for you is key.
Okay.
Don't hesitate to reach out for support from healthcare professionals, therapists, or loved ones.
Yeah. That's so important.
And remember, you are not alone.
This conversation has been so enlightening.
I agree.
It's a reminder that we have more power than we realize.
We do.
To influence our mood and energy levels.
Right.
Even when the days are short and the nights are long.
Yeah, absolutely.
To all our listeners out there, have you noticed any shifts in your mood or energy as winter approaches? What strategies have you found helpful for managing those winter blues?
It's a good question.
Share your experiences and insights in the comments below.
We'd love to hear from you.
We'd love to hear from you. And before we sign off, don't forget to like and subscribe to The Deep Dive. For more explorations into fascinating topics.
Yeah.
Let us know in the comments what other deep dives you'd like to see.
That's a great idea.
We're always on the lookout for new adventures in knowledge.